Hello and welcome to the Hoop Collective podcast. We talk about the NBA, which we're doing on Monday morning because it's after 1 a.m, East Coast. Out here on the West Coast, it's still Sunday night, and the Grammys after parties are raging. So I just want you to know, guys, I could be across the street at the Grammy after parties, but no, we had to make sure that we got our full coverage in here. Joining us from New York City, where he was at the Knicks' victory over the Lakers at Madison Square Garden earlier this evening, is Tim Bontemps.
Hello, everybody.
Atmosphere was good at the Garden tonight?
Yeah, fun atmosphere as always when LeBron comes to town. We'll see if it's the last time LeBron does come to town. Got himself into the All-Star game and dapped up all the Knicks players after the game. So, celebratory mood.
Luka flipped off Jalen Brunson after the game.
Well, not after the game. I thought it was, or maybe I saw he tried to help him up at one point during the game and after Jalen took a charge.
No, he literally, he was obviously joking, but he walked over, in the post-game, hug party. He flipped him off, reminiscent of Larry Bird and Michael Jordan after that series in The Last Dance.
I see that right here now. It's pretty funny. Joining
us from Ball Arena, where he's just gotten through out of the locker room, the Thunder locker room, after the Thunder had their most impressive win in a few weeks, is I wouldn't say they limped in to Denver, but they have not been playing their best basketball, and they reminded everybody who the champions are by laying it down against the Nuggets, is Ben MacMahon.
Howdy, partners. I thought it was really nice of the NBA to schedule a Luka versus Jalen Brunson game on the 1-year anniversary of the trade that shipped Luka out of Dallas. Just a little reminder of that draft class duo that got away.
I will say that I think we podcasted last year earlier than we podcasted tonight on that night.
That is not true.
Yeah, well, you're having a slightly less stressful evening tonight.
Just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit.
By the way, I want to do a special shout out to the San Antonio Spurs. They channeled NBA media today. I don't even know if you guys know this because you were at games. The Spurs did something that so many NBA media do on a daily basis, and so many of our fine listeners, I'm sure, and fellow Americans. Do you know what that is?
Flew day of a game?
You're on the right track, but not quite.
Flew in and went right to the arena, I believe.
Had post-game beers?
All right, I'll just end the suspense. They changed planes in Atlanta. Oh. That's right, folks. They changed planes in Atlanta. They took off from Charlotte a day late. Their plane had a problem with it. It diverted to Atlanta. They switched planes. Not sure if they stopped at the Delta Club in the meantime. And then they got on another plane, just like hundreds of thousands of people do every day, and made it to San Antonio and put up 37 in the first quarter and crushed the Magic.
Yeah, when we have connection problems, though, they don't bump tip time back for us. They did bump that one back a little bit. Wemby was questionable, and then I think he reminded himself, hey, I got to play a certain amount of games to get awards, and he went out there and had a pretty dominant performance.
I always think it's good when Wemby has 15 free throws and 4 3-pointers. I think that's the golden ratio we're looking for.
I think it's good when he has 5 blocks and 4 steals.
That's also helpful.
By the way, speaking on the Spurs really quick, it's worth shouting out the Charlotte Hornets, who beat them the final day of the month of January. I just want to quickly read the Hornets line for the month of January. 11-6 record. Offensive rating of 121.1, a defensive rating of 109.6, which was 5th in the league over the month, and a net rating of 11.5 per 100 possessions. Just worth shouting out the Hornets.
The Charlotte Hornets, I believe, ended up with the best road point differential in a month by a team in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have been playing high-level basketball in Charlotte.
That's why when they are good, they're like untouchable. But they do sometimes stub their toe. But they are, since they've had their team healthy, their starting lineup that they're using right now, they put the Moose in. By the way, have you? There's been a thing, Moussa Diabate, their center, who's I think since he moved in the starting lineup and they got Brandon Miller back. There's something like 12-1 or 12 or 13-1. I don't know what it is when they've played. And I'm not sure he embraced the Moose nickname, but they love calling him Moose, and he started embracing it. And I think, we should all focus on embracing this and getting this to grow, because I love the concept of a guy embracing a nickname of the Moose.
I just looked up, by the way, that lineup's numbers.
Okay. I was about to do that.
22 games, record of 15-7 for Lonzo Ball, Con Knuppel, Brandon Miller.
Probably LaMelo.
LaMelo, not Lonzo.
Lonzo's, there aren't very many numbers for Lonzo that are very good.
That's right. LaMelo Ball.
Sorry.
It's late. LaMelo Ball, Con Knuppel, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and Moussa Diabate. 22 games, 15-7 record, 193 minutes. Offensive rating of 140.2. A defensive rating of 109.7 and a net rating of 30.4.
That probably won't continue, but they have found something. By the way, in that game, that win over the Spurs you mentioned, Moussa Diabate was the most impactful French big man on the floor that day.
It was not a banner performance by Victor, and he elected with less than a minute to go to take a very ill-advised 30-footer. His team was down 3, but they didn't need 3, and he certainly didn't need that 3.
It was a hero ball shot for sure.
Yeah, so
maybe it was his ode to LaMelo. LaMelo's taken a few of those.
even LaMelo was like, "Whoa, bro!"
Whoa. Let's talk about shot selection, there, buddy.
Anyway, speaking of 3-pointers that were not ill-advised but well-intentioned, was the Thunder tonight. So the Thunder come in tonight's game. I think they were 8-5 in their last 13 games, which for most teams would be pretty good. For the Thunder, it was like, whoa, are they shaky? The fact that they are missing all these perimeter players, was a factor, but they have not been able to hit threes. I didn't look up the numbers before the game, but I looked them up on Friday, and over that 13-game stretch, I think they were 26th in the league in threes. They are not an elite 3-point shooting team. Anyway, they run through stretches. They have some good 3-point individual shooters, but their numbers were down. Chet's numbers were particularly down, I think, with the guards, with Jalen Williams being out. We talked about it the other day. Anyway, I don't know if Denver's game plan, I don't know if Adelman said anything after the game, MacMahon, but Denver was absolutely collapsing is an understatement on Shai tonight, which it's not like it's never been tried before, but they completely sold out on collapsing on him. And he just kicked the ball out to wide open 3-point shooters, and they dropped 19 of them.
Yes, 19 of them.
Shai had 13 assists, and I think 10 or 11 led to threes.
So Shai had 13 assists and 16 field goal attempts. He ends up with 34 points on 16 field goal attempts with 13 assists. Cason Wallace knocked down 7 threes, career high. And when I say career high, I mean the whole career. I said, did you ever hit 7 threes at Richardson High School? He was like, no, absolutely not. But 7 of 11 from 3 for him. And, he knocked down a couple, then the basket's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that was, he's a guy who teams are going to dare to shoot threes. He's shooting it at 37% this year. The volume's not that high, but tonight was going to be a high volume game for him, and he stepped into them and was knocking them down. Aaron Wiggins hit a few, like I said, 19 of 48, and it is like that teams are going to try to force the ball out of Shai's hands as much as possible. And they're going to have role players knock down threes. Lou Dort's going to have to knock down threes. Caruso, when he's back. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, when he's back, especially, as he continues to get that shooting wrist, hopefully back into form coming off the surgery. They're going to have to be able to knock down good looks at threes to make another run through the Western Conference playoffs. And, tonight was a test to that they certainly passed.
That's all true, but this felt like a game where the MVP of the league decided to make sure his team was going to get a win. And that was a MVP performance from Shai for a team that has been dealing with all these injuries, has not been playing well, been scuffling games left and right, going up against Nikola Jokic, who came back on Friday after missing a month and immediately was unbelievable again. And, it felt like this was a night where Shai said, all right, like, yeah, we haven't had our best stretch. We've had some injuries. We've had some problems, but we're still awesome. I'm still awesome. We're still the defending champs. And we're going to go into Denver with Nikola Jokic back and make a statement. And obviously the role guys help hitting shots and making plays, but Shai was unbelievable in this game and just like completely set the tone, it felt like, all the way through.
I was going to say, like Chet Holmgren mentioned, we were glad that Joker was playing because we wanted to, they wanted that test. They wanted that challenge. And both these teams, I think these are the two best teams in basketball. They're also two of the most injured teams in basketball. The Nuggets, Christian Brown and Cam Johnson are pretty close to returning. Aaron Gordon, unfortunately, is going to be out for a while. But the Thunder, Jalen Williams still out. Alex Caruso still out. Like both these teams have dealt with a ton of injuries. But Joker coming back, the Thunder were glad to see that because they wanted to face him and they wanted that kind of challenge.
Peyton Watson had another excellent game tonight, and it's one of the reasons why I think even though this was a setback for the Nuggets, I think they love the position they're in on February 1st. They know that to beat Oklahoma City 4 out of 7, they're going to have to be at the top of their game. They were not. Jokic had a brilliant return on Friday where he had 31 points in like 25 minutes or something.
Yeah, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists in 25 minutes.
I was talking to a scout who was at the game who's like, he's like, you can make fun of his conditioning all you want, but his conditioning wasn't good, you could tell. He looked a little bit more rusty in this game. And of course you give the Thunder credit. But he had 6 turnovers. He did throw a no look behind the head pass to the corner for a 3 at one point. But Jokic, not on top of his game right now.
No, but and so the guys who really were able to carry them during the month or so that the Joker missed were obviously Jamal Murray, who's finally an All-Star now, Peyton Watson, who did have a great game tonight, and Tim Hardaway. Murray and Hardaway both had big-time shooting duds tonight. One reason the Nuggets are so excited about what they have, especially once they get healthy, is bringing in Cam Johnson, bringing in Tim Hardaway Jr., Peyton Watson's development as a shooter, Murray having the best year of his career. They feel like this is the best shooting lineup, the best shooting team that they've had around Joker. But Hardaway and Murray couldn't buy one tonight.
Well, and listen, like you said, Brian, the reason they feel good about the position they're in is when Jokic got hurt a month ago, we were going, well, could Denver be in the play-in when he comes back? Could they be, hanging on to 6th when he comes back? Like, where are they going to land? And they come back essentially tied for 2nd in the West. And again, assuming Jokic stays healthy, I don't think they're falling below 3rd. And if they're in 2nd or 3rd, what does that mean? That means they don't see Oklahoma City till the conference finals. And if you tell Denver, hey, you guys go through the season and you have to get to the conference finals and see Oklahoma City there, the Nuggets would sign up for that healthy back in October. They certainly sign up for it now. And that's where, the Peyton Watson renaissance he's had over the past month, the way Jamal has played, like you said, very much deserving of being an all-star, like playing the way he needed to from the start of the year all the way through has been massively important for Denver. And all of a sudden, you're sitting here with them weathering this Jokic injury and coming out the other side in the exact same spot they were and in great position to set up what would be if these two teams are in the conference finals. I mean, talk about a pretty titanic matchup. I mean, it was a great series last year in the semifinals. Conference finals between the guys who could finish 1-2 and MVP again, it'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. And I don't know if is David Adams a rookie head coach? He's got a couple playoff series under his belt.
Yeah, he's a rookie head coach. I mean, that would happen. Like, this is in baseball. Like, if you there's like a number of games. Like, by the way, speaking of that, is Mitch Johnson a rookie head coach?
Yeah, it's interesting. Both of them are doing really strong jobs.
we didn't mention with that win against Orlando, Mitch Johnson clinched being All-Star coach, although there's now 4 All-Star coaches.
Oh, what the hell?
Aren't there 4? There's 3 teams.
That was the case last year, too. Yeah, assistant coaches are getting in charge of teams, too.
I'm confused.
I hope you guys, I don't mean you two, none of us are going to be here for the Open. I hope you all enjoy the All-Star weekend. Everybody's all up in arms about some of the snubs, which we'll talk to about later. But I don't even know what we're going to get that night. So I wish everybody the best of luck. All right, out on the East Coast, this was a premium game. NBC had their first ever Sunday night, not first ever, but whatever, Sunday night basketball, which we're going to see for the next 11 years as part of this contract.
Caitlin Clark in the house.
Brought in Caitlin Clark. Did you see? I don't know.
Peyton Pritchard?
I don't want to. I'm a member of a pregame show. I'm certainly not going to. Let's just say that there was a reaction to when Maria Taylor asked Reggie Miller to compare Caitlin Clark to somebody, and he said Peyton Pritchard. And let's just say that she made a face.
I'm taking Paige Beckers over Caitlin Clark.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Dallas. Congratulations.
Our friend of the pod, Nick Nurse, fellow Iowan, has told me the story of how he went up to Caitlin and introduced himself and said, "How does it feel to be the second best shooter in the history of Iowa basketball?" Behind Nick Nurse, to be clear.
Oh, are you saying Nick Nurse?
That's his answer.
I think Steve Kerr, his senior year at Arizona, shot like 58% on threes. So, I mean, if we're going to go into the coaching ranks to enter into there, I think that's where we're going to start. But I'm not aware of...
Fellow Iowa native AJ Green, another Northern Iowa guy. He's a hell of a shooter. There's a lot of good shooters in the NBA.
I did once want to see a coach's dunk contest, but now that Willie Green got fired, the favorite's gone.
What about Jamal Mosley? I think...
he can still dunk, but he's squeaking it in.
Okay.
I wrote a story on this stuff.
I remember. But
it's a good story.
I'm going to see Nurse tomorrow. I'm going to go to the Clippers-Sixers game. Can he produce statistics that defend this position?
If you talk to Nurse about it, I'm sure he'll tell you the same story.
Statistics? Give him a ball, put him on the, there's hoops around.
He's a pretty good player in Northern Iowa. I don't know if he actually would try to go shot for shot with Caitlin at this point.
I don't
or
care about
AJ
Northern
Green,
Iowa.
his fellow Northern Iowa alumnus.
All right.
That was the line he told me.
All right, I'm going to put him on.
He wanted me to say hello to Caitlin today at the game. There was just a few people in the way. So
I'm going to halt the pregame press conference tomorrow as we listen to our updates on everything with the Sixers, and I want this on the record, and I'm going to do it in the press conference because I want the cameras to pick it up
on the spot.
Can ask him that after you get the checkup about Paul George.
Yeah,
a smooth transition.
I'm sure he'd be happy to talk about his high school stats other than Paul George. Anyway, so that was a game that the Knicks now won their 6th consecutive win, Bontemps, and in this stretch, and I know that 6 games is not necessarily that indicative of anything, but the Knicks have the number 1 defense in the league in the 6-game stretch. The Lakers crawled over 100, but I think they've held 3 teams under 100. And once again, they really were able to generate a lot of offense off of their defense. They had a ton of offensive rebounds again. I'm going to say Joe Mazzulla is a pretty smart coach. His methods are a little bit unique and unorthodox, but his game plans are pretty good. And, it was really interesting about how important it was to the Celtics to get Mitch Robinson off the court in the playoffs last year. And there is no doubt that for a guy who cannot really make a shot outside, what do you want to say, like 4 feet?
I was going to say outside of a dunk or a layup.
It's a dunk. Yeah, Mitchell Robinson is dunking the ball or rebounding the ball and kicking it out. And he is a one-man wrecking crew in the paint.
Yes.
It is unbelievable. Like, obviously, we're around a lot of NBA players. These guys are all large humans, but the way Mitchell Robinson, the only guy that really is like Mitchell Robinson in terms of carving out space inside is Steven Adams, who has had a similar impact with the Rockets and in the past, obviously, with the Thunder and with the Grizzlies. And like, if you look at the way the game is shifted, like having a guy that can have that kind of impact inside can flip a quarter or flip a half or flip a game. And it's happened for the Knicks a lot this season. Like he's done some remarkable work for them.
Mitchell Robinson has 72 buckets this year. This probably isn't updated from today, but 72 buckets. How many of those do you think are dunks?
68.
50, but 93.4% of his attempts are within 3 feet of the bucket.
Yeah.
That's okay. So his range is 3 feet.
Yeah.
I will say that he has the rare accomplishment of creating gravity as a rebounder, because just like when you see teams shift their defense towards great shooting and it opens up space elsewhere, the opponents are so cognizant, especially on the offensive glass, of where Mitchell Robinson is, that it creates gravity for the rebounder. So I think tonight, like Towns had 5 offensive rebounds, and some of them were as a result of Mitchell Robinson's gravity.
What's the best way for the Knicks to get a good wide open three? Miss a shot, let Mitchell Robinson grab the rebound and kick it back out.
Mitchell Robinson is averaging 4.9 points and 4.9 offensive rebounds in 19 minutes a game this season.
Yeah, I think it's been quite a few years since we've seen a guy average 5 offensive rebounds. I think I looked the last 3-4 years, it's all been in the 4s. He's got the highest. I also want to point out that Karl Towns, first off, he was named to an All-Star today. So no matter what anybody wants to say, and by the way, an American All-Star, I should point out, he's listed as an American All-Star. Is that correct, Bontemps?
That's not necessarily correct. No,
they haven't specified yet, have they?
No, they have not. They're doing that on Tuesday.
Well, there's 8 international players, so they have a team.
Well, I'm going to guess that Giannis probably isn't going to play in the All-Star game.
I believe Karl would be one of those 8, actually. But that as
I thought I saw that he was.
We'll find out when they name the replacement for Giannis.
Yeah, they have the ability to.
Anyway, I want to point out that we know that Karl Towns is not a perfect player, and we know that there are going to be times and moments when Karl Towns is subject to criticism, and his. It's been the case for his whole career. No one's saying differently. However, he does a lot of positive things. The coaches voted him in as an All-Star. That's number 1. Number 2, people were very highly focused on his plus minus. I think during the winning streak, his plus minus is something like plus 71. He was a team high plus 23 today. And I know that individual game plus minus isn't, it's not the be all end all, but I'm talking about 6 games. He's plus 71. He had back-to-back 20 rebound games, the previous 2 games before this. And then today had an effective game. So I'm not saying he won't have another tough stretch or anything like that, but, Bontemps, I think, the bottom line here is the Knicks, come hell or high water, I think, believe in the core of this team and this roster. And right now, you can see why they believe in it. And while I would never make any assumptions in the NBA, their belief in this roster is being backed up in the days ahead of the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Knicks have had a pretty soft stretch of the schedule. They played the Nets, who they beat by $1 billion.
Toronto. They won in
the
Toronto.
USWB Cook.
Well, listen, They won in Toronto on the second night of back-to-back, which is a great win, a truly great win. They scuffled their way through a win against Sacramento. They smoked Portland on Friday, which is a nice win. Obviously, this is a nice win today against the Lakers. But look, the Knicks also came into this stretch having gotten absolutely obliterated at home by a tanking Mavs team. And we went into that Nets game, I certainly did, saying they better not lose this Nets game because who knows what's going to happen then. So this is both a good timing in terms of some games they should take care of business in that they did. And it also, to your point, you're seeing Karl Towns not really focusing on scoring, but I rebounded doing some of this other stuff, which has helped. And they've gotten back towards some of the stuff they were doing earlier in the year. And yeah, look, like we came into the season thinking the Knicks were one of the top couple teams in the East. Outside of, that one stretch when they really kind of careened the other way, they've more or less been about the team we thought they were going to be. And we'll see what happens over the next 3.5 or 4 days, and if they're able to swing a deal or not, whether it's for Giannis or something else. But I think, at the end of the day, go back to what James Dolan said a month ago. We have to make the finals and we should win. That's what the expectations are. And if they keep playing like this, they're going to go into the East playoffs. If not the favorite to make the finals, they're certainly not going to be lower than second if they can play anything like this the rest of the way.
By the way, the Nets had their second 50-point loss in the last 2 weeks today.
Yeah. But listen, whatever was said in that Knicks players-only non-meeting apparently worked, because they were terrible. They were they were league worst 2-9 over that 11-game stretch. They were a complete embarrassment, a debacle, and they weren't playing hard. Like, it was, so disgusting that James Dolan's leaving at halftime, and they've been playing hard, and that's why the 6 games is not nothing, because what it is they basically decided, okay, look, we're going to do something about this. We're not just going to let this disgusting lack of effort fester. They've done something about it, and they've done something about it while trade, not even rumors, but like at least trade speculation has been swirling about them, none more so than with Karl Anthony Towns. Like, I'm talking to people pregame today, and, they're, hey, you think Cat's getting traded? And it's like, even independent of Giannis, they're asking that. And give Cat credit. Like, of course he hears all that noise, but you can't question whether he's playing hard right now.
Please demonstrate to me the trades that you can trade Karl Towns for and know that you're upgrading. Okay, Giannis, there's one. But it's, for all that can be said about him, he puts a lot of stuff in the stat sheet. Now I think the Knicks' next game is against the Wizards, so I don't think the schedule is going to come more demanding. But I think Wednesday,
I like their odds in that one.
Let's talk about the Wizards for a second. We're
not prepared.
This wasn't a planned situation.
I'm going
to listen.
I would like to bring up the lineup that the Wizards played down the stretch of tonight's game in Washington.
I know that last Saturday they started a lineup that the average age was like 20.7. It's like the youngest.
Hold on. I didn't get to watch this, but I'm excited. This was a big win for the Wizards. Capital W Wizards. It ain't an L tonight, baby. Capital W. Tell me about this. I'm excited for this one.
So the Wizards are playing the Sacramento Kings, the Kangs, as they might be called. And 2 teams fighting for ping pong ball positioning in the lottery standings.
Fighting.
And in the fourth quarter, yes. Well, the Wizards were doing some fighting today. Because in the fourth quarter of this game's on the line, 1-possession game, going down to the finish at home, fans into it.
Yes.
In D.C. Here's the lineup Brian Keefe had on the court. Sharif Cooper, A.J. Johnson, Will Riley, Anthony Gill, and Skal Labissiere.
Sharif Cooper.
Scal's on a 10-day.
Sharif Cooper wasn't in the league for a while. Then the Wizards gave him a 2-way. I wonder how that ended up happening. Anyways, go on. A little 3 or 4 year hiatus.
And the Kings had DeMar DeRozan out there. They had Zach LaVine out there. They had their core lineup out there at the end of the game. And Skal goes for 13-7 and a couple assists, plus 6 for 8 from the field, 27 minutes. Hits a couple of huge shots in the closing moments, and the Wizards come out on top. They get the W. And I was just very amused watching this all play out.
Is that a Skal revenge game? Is that a couple stints with the with the Kangs and showed them what they gave up on?
Vivek has always been a big Scout fan. Maybe he'll be on a 10-day with the Kings in a couple of weeks. So go play for
I think
them.
the Kings have lost 12 straight road games. I think it's the longest stretch in the league.
I had several people in the league hit me about this Kings game tonight and go, man, what is going on in Sacramento that they're losing this game?
I found the number. So last Saturday, they started an average. The lineup that they started was an average age of 20.6 years old.
This is the Wizards?
Yeah, and it was just like they moved. It was going to be snow, so they moved it up to like noon. And somebody said it was like an ACC game. The game was at noon, and there was a bunch of 19-year-olds playing.
So Skal Labissière played in a handful of games last year and scored a total of 7 points. And now his game log is gone.
Sharif Cooper hadn't been in the league since 21-22.
I'm trying to find when the last time he scored. So he had 10 points in a game on December 26th in 2019. I think that might be the last time he scored double-digit points in a game.
Landry Shamet is like, what are you doing talking about the Wizards? Why are you not talking about my dominating performance off the bench today whilst talking trash to Luka? I don't think he actually talked trash, but
that has been one of the things that during this streak, I don't remember I think Landry came back for the Nets game.
They lost a few games when he came back, but when he got his feet up underneath him and started making threes, it was coinciding with their.
That's right. He played in those games before that, but he went 6 for 6 from 3 in that Nets game. That's what it was, and he had a huge game. But him being back in the rotation and hitting shots has been a nice boost for the Knicks over the last couple of weeks. After he missed a bunch of time after hurting his shoulder. But yeah, look, the Knicks, we'll see if they end up doing something on the margins this week. I could see him moving Gershon Yabusele at some point this week. It was a free agent signing that hasn't worked out to this point. I would be surprised if they get something big done. Like you said, I don't expect the main pieces of the team to change. But yeah, they feel pretty good about where they're at, and the vibes are a lot different than they were a couple weeks ago. That's for sure.
We did have a trade. We actually had two trades over the weekend.
This was what I was going to say. The Kings did win something this week. They won a bronze medal in a 3-team trade. That is a Sacramento Kings specialty.
It was a 3-team trade involving the Kings, the Cavs, and the Bulls. The Bulls got Dario Saric and 2 second-round picks. You're giving them silver?
We should pause again and celebrate the Chicago Bulls for getting picks in a trade. This is not something they've rarely done it. So, kudos to the Bulls.
The Bulls lost in a game they kind of surrendered to the Heat by 40 tonight. By the way, did you know the Bulls and the Heat are playing 3 straight times?
What?
Yeah. Well, they did play 3 of the last 4 days. Well, there was a game that got postponed early in the year because there was water or condensation on the court at the United Center. So then they ended up making it into a 3-game and 4-day set this weekend.
You've heard it. We say baseball series, but they're not. This is actually
a real baseball series.
This is a real baseball series, yeah.
But the Heat won by 40. The Bulls lost. Josh Giddey, amongst others, were out in this game. They're now 24-26, 50 games into the season.
All roads what?
And you know what that means. All roads lead to 39, and I'm sticking by it.
They're getting passed by the Charlotte Hornets. I'll guarantee you that at this point.
They're on pace for 39-43 as we speak right now.
All roads, baby. Every night, whether you see a Bulls win or loss, just know all roads lead to 39 wins. Anyways,
the trade.
So the Cavs pick up Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder, who's now playing for his 11th team. They did not play for the Cavs tonight in Portland, where they won by 20, I think. And Jared Allen was like, Evan Mobley can just take the rest of the time off before the All-Star break, because Jared Allen had 40 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals.
That's a line.
In 30 minutes in Portland tonight.
Pretty good.
6 offensive rebounds. Take that, Mitchell Robinson.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Sam Merrill is back from injury. He hit 6 threes. That helped. Jalen Tyson hit 4 threes. Anyway, so this trade.
And what's that get in this trade?
Zach got DeAndre Hunter, and they got off of Dennis Schroeder's contract, which they just gave.
Yes.
And Dario Saric, who they just traded for.
Yeah, which I like. The Dario Saric, Jonas Valanciunas trade was very bizarre. They took back more money in that deal. I don't know, man. It's whatever. I don't want to focus too much on the Kings.
I agree. I mean, the thing about DeAndre Hunter is that he's now been traded twice in a year.
And what's his contract look like?
He's owed over $20 million next year, and so now that's now on the Kings' books.
The Kings are currently flirting with the second apron next year. That's a problem.
So, and here's the thing: the Kings gave up 2 second-round picks to get Valanciunas that they turned into Saric, who is making more money, that they then gave up 2 second-round picks to get off of.
He's making less money, but be that as it may.
The Cavs gave up one of the picks to Chicago to offload that. In the case of the Cavs, Schroeder is going to be their backup point guard behind Darius Garland. It's my understanding that Garland is nearing a return from that right toe injury. They've been working on setups in his shoe with like tape jobs and like a plate in there that make him comfortable. I think they're hoping that he plays on this road trip. They've played 2 out of 5 games on the road. I think they're in LA for the next 4 or 5 days. So hopefully,
they're in LA all week for the trade deadline.
Yeah. So Lonzo Ball has just not been effective. We'll see if the Cavs are able to trade him. By the way, the Cavs saved around $40 million in this deal with luxury tax and salary bontemps. So if you save money and you build out your depth a little bit. Now, one thing that will be interesting. So Keon Ellis, who a number of teams showed interest in at this deadline, he is a 3-and-D perimeter player. He gets into passing lanes and plays with high effort. But he doesn't have the physical size to you're not going to put him on Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown and think that he's going to shut him down. I don't know. I'm not an expert. That's what the scouts tell me.
He's a good guard defender, which is what they need.
But if you put him next to, because that's what they got Hunter for in theory. But Jalen Tyson has played really well for the Cavs, so Jalen Tyson's getting some of Hunter's minutes. But Ellis can be normally when you trade for a player, he can't be extended for 6 months. In Ellis's case, that's not true. Ellis can sign an extension with the Cavs after February 9th in a week. So we'll see if the Cavs elect to extend him. I will say now, Dennis Schroeder is the definition of a journeyman. This is his 11th team. But typically what you see with Schroeder is that teams like the fire and intensity that he brings in the short term. And the Cavs are a team that could use some of that in addition to a more reliable backup point guard. And so that's what they've done.
He helped the Pistons last year.
He was with the Pistons for he got traded twice last year.
Yeah, I said he helped the Pistons last year.
Yes. And then they said goodbye.
Yeah, and well,
they weren't going to match a 3-year deal. I mean, that's the thing. Schroeder had value last summer, but the 3-year contract, the third year is not fully guaranteed, but the 3-year contract that Zach gave him was a surprise to the league. So the question is, what else? So Cleveland, as a second apron team, makes a trade, which is hard to do. They, in their belief, increase their depth. We'll see whether that turns out to be true or not, but they believe increases their depth, significantly reduces their payroll and luxury tax payments. That's checking a lot of boxes. The players have to play well, Bontemps, for it to actually work. The question will be, is Cleveland done? Doing trades for when the second apron is hard, they will, I think, seek to move off of Lonzo Ball. They have Naquan Tomlin, who had another very good game with 12 points off the bench on Sunday. think he's got 3 games left before he runs out of games as a two-way. So they need to create a roster spot. They would love to shave some more money off. Whether or not they can do more, we'll see. They've been very active in talks. We talked about last week how active they were in talks. They ended up making this trade. So Bontemps, the Cleveland is a team to watch over the next 3 or 4 days. I'm not sure whether they're going to be able to do anything more, but I definitely think they should be watched.
I think they're the most interesting team to watch in the entire league this
Look
week.
at you.
Because, people around the league are watching the Donovan Mitchell situation. He's got 1 guaranteed year left on his contract. He has not made it out of the second round of the playoffs in his career. And if the Cavs don't make a playoff run this year, when they came into the season, coming off winning 64 games and losing in really disappointing fashion, as many people had them ahead of the Knicks, but at worst, they were co-favorites with the Knicks to make the finals. And instead, they've been somewhere from 7th to 5th most of the season. They're 5th right now.
Listen, bro, they're out of the play-in.
Yes. Well, they've gotten out of the play-in, but there's pressure there for the Cavs to make a run this year. And as constituted right now, I don't think Dennis Schroeder, this trade was fine. I would rather have Keon Ellis than DeAndre Hunter, but this is not going to be enough, in my opinion, to get the Cavs where they need to go this year to satisfy the pressure that's on them. So is there a move they can make between now and Thursday afternoon that is going to be able to do that? Now, we'll see if something comes up. We've spent months talking about nothing's really happening. There's only been 3 trades that have been made all season so far, but they have a lot of interesting players on big salaries who can move around, and there's motivation to do deals. So I'm really interested to see if Cleveland can do something or some things and what those some things look like if they do them. Because there's not a lot of teams in the position the Cavs are in where there's real motivation to do stuff around the league. So they might be a place where we see some fireworks.
So obviously it's hard to second apron, but I will say the big question for Cleveland for a year now has been, are they willing to break up their core 4 of Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, and Darius Garland? And the message that the Cavs sent out for a while this season, even when they were struggling, was no, we are not breaking up our core 4. If we're going to do something, it's going to be on the margins, which is what they did here. I think that there is a zone here, and there are potential things that would get them to break up their core 4 in the next few days, but it's going to be threading the needle.
When you say break up their core 4, do you mean trading Darius Garland?
I'm not going to go farther than that. I'm just going to say that they're, it would look, last year we saw second apron teams, Minnesota and Phoenix, try to do all kinds of big things at the deadline, and they couldn't do it because at the end of the day, you're supposed to be in a box. So,
and by the way, this trade has gotten the Cavs to a place where if they subtract one mid-sized contract from their books, depending on which guy, they can get out of the second apron and then be able to aggregate salaries and do things. So they're just going to be really in a market where there's not a lot happening across the league. The Cavs, they're the team I've been paying attention to the most in the league over the last week. And I think, if stuff happens this week of significance in the league, I think there's a good chance Cleveland will be in the middle of it. And we might just not have much of any significance happen around the
right.
league.
And we may get to Thursday and the Cavs don't do anything just because second apron reality.
And just the right deal might not materialize. But I think they're going to try to get better.
If it's Garland, this would be you're selling low based on the season he's had and the injury issues that he's had.
I don't think, just to be clear, I don't think they traded for Dennis Schroeder to replace Darius Garland. Just to be clear, I think, that's not the purpose. I think they felt they needed to upgrade a backup point guard. I think that's what that's about.
Yeah, and Ty Jerome played a big role for him last year. Basically, if you want to look at it that way. If it's Jared Allen who would be the one going, tonight's the night to get it done, baby. Fresh off 40-17 and that line.
All right, so we had the All-Star reserves announced today. There's going to be at least one change because Giannis is going to be replaced. it's so LeBron James made it, which that was a uncertainty. Chet Holmgren made it for the first time, rewarding him for he hasn't had the best month of January. He played stronger in December, but he's had a very strong season, and obviously the Thunder have been the best team from start. There seems to be some blowback because the Clipper fans are not happy that Kawhi Leonard having arguably his best first half of a season since he's been with the Clippers, and the Clippers are hosting the game. And so not only does James Harden not make it, but Kawhi Leonard does not make it. And
there could be some mean signs in the wall during the All-Star game.
What you wonder is if the aspiration investigation played a role. Obviously,
we'll slap on the wrist.
Kawhi missed some games earlier this season, but LeBron has missed more games.
Yeah, LeBron's missed more games, and his numbers aren't, frankly, nearly as good. So,
well, and look, man, supposedly it was the coach's vote. Supposedly the league didn't have anything to do with it. Let's just be honest, though. If you're trying to get people to tune into the All-Star game, and it comes down to LeBron or Kawhi, like who's the bigger draw? Come on.
Well, I hope LeBron intends to play this year.
Yeah, it would be nice. If it's based on performance this season, though, it's Kawhi's clearly had the better year.
Of course. Yeah. I mean,
and honestly,
if you're going to
say, Doom can say, hey, I should have been in over LeBron.
And Houston's had a good season, and they don't have an all-star.
If you want to really conspiracy,
they have Kevin Durant.
And if you really want a conspiracy theory, Giannis Antetokounmpo is an international player who will not be playing in the all-star game, and perhaps Alpi Sengun will be slid in there as a international player to replace him.
If they voted for LeBron because he's having a good year, not great, but good year, and he has done so much for the league and it's the right thing to do, that's totally acceptable. If they put LeBron in and they didn't put Kawhi in because it's a form of punishment. But here's the thing. I will say, out of things that don't leak, there's been more Supreme Court decisions leak in the last 20 years than there has been coaches' votes.
Right.
Seriously, do you ever remember the coaches' vote ever leaking?
They never come out, ever.
I'm not sure anything.
Rick Carlisle has a thing, though, where he'll tell, like, in like pregame press conferences, he'll mention like 16 guys that he voted for every year. Anyways,
there's no repercussions. I don't know if there's much else to say about the All-Stars. Other than that, I don't know.
That was the only. I mean, the rest of it was obviously it's cool for Norm Powell, Jamal Murray. These guys have been long time, really good players, making the All-Star team for the first time. I was really happy Denny Avdia made the All-Star team. He's had an unbelievable year for Portland. Super, clearly deserving. There was some debate, would he get in? I thought that would have been crazy.
He did not play tonight in the Cavs that win. I should point that out.
Yeah, he's been dealing with this back thing for a while. He's been in and out of the lineup, but he's had an unbelievable year. Jalen Duren, great year for him. Another guy making the All-Star team for the first time. It's cool to see a bunch of guys get in for the first time this year. But yeah, I mean, it was
Brandon Ingram was a bit of a snub in the East.
I didn't think so,
but Scotty Barnes got in.
Yeah,
from Toronto.
I thought the East was. I thought they were all pretty good.
All right. We have two things that are very important to the podcast that we need to say. One is that I'm waking up at 3:45 a.m. Pacific, and it's now 11:17 Pacific. So
Windy Sleep Update
keep that in mind.
By.
It's gonna be some get up grumpiness tomorrow. I love it.
Having said that,
he's telling me to hurry up.
It's the start of a new month.
Oh, we ain't hurrying up, buddy. We're slowing down. We're slowing down for the new criterion for this month's big award.
It's the start of a new month, and that means that another month just ended.
That's right.
And that means this is a time where MacMahon shines.
By 3 Eastern, we'll know the 97 people who qualify for the award and why they're being selected this month.
Jackson, have we gotten that mute button for Bontemps yet? The Cojones Factor Player of the Month. I always shout out the buzzer beaters. There's only two true buzzer beaters, like buzzer goes off when the ball in the air. They're both on the same night. Paolo Banchero, Emmanuel Quickly, the first guys to hit buzzer-beating threes on the same night since DNPC D'Lo, Russell Russell Westbrook in April 9th, 2017. I'm sorry, I messed up the D'Angelo is what I meant. It's just been a strange stint for him in Dallas.
Was that the Westbrook? Was that the day of the Westbrook shot in Denver?
You know what? I'd have to look that up.
By the way, Jason Kidd, losing his mind a little bit about criticism about playing Cooper Flagg at point guard. I mean, the Mavs point guard situation is a mess. I don't think it's a debate.
The criticism was 3 months ago. J. Kidd went into that press conference with an agenda. The agenda was to rip the refs, basically say, Cooper, I got your back.
He called out all three refs by name.
By name.
And
that's
each
going to
one
be
of those is probably
going to
be I say 3 refs, 30,000. 3 refs names,
and
30,000.
Then,
that's what I say.
The expletive-laden answer to cutting off the question that started out about the national criticism of playing Cooper Flagg at point guard, that was just J. Kidd being, annoyed and grumpy, and I wouldn't read too much into that.
Jason Kidd is one of the greatest point guards of all time, and certainly one of the more cerebral players of the last 25 years. I don't think that's in question.
Yeah, but I will say this:
but he ain't playing; he's coaching.
When he says, "I know what the f I'm doing," Bontemps. When it comes to Cojones Factor, I know what the f I'm doing. You shut up too, okay? That's how I feel about that particular situation. No, by the way. Yes, it was April 9th, 2017, in this very building when Russell Westbrook hit that three. Still the most memorable regular season game I've covered. That's when they had he broke the triple-double record for a season and, went on a crazy comeback where he scores the last 13 points with the buzzer beater anyways. And eliminated the Nuggets from the playoffs and got a standing ovation from the crowd here. I think it was the Pepsi Center at the time, whatever the arena was called.
It was a different era. That was a different era. Jokic wouldn't allow that for now.
That's the last time they ever made the playoffs. Okay, so let's get right to it, Wendy. You've got to get some sleep. Wendy sleep up days going strong. Actually, you've probably got to get to a Grammys after party. You're just going to pull an all-nighter, aren't you?
I'm not even in my hotel room.
Wendy's going to be...
To improve the quality, I came to the studio.
Bontemps, when he gets wild, he's going to have some Diet Pepsi, baby, and he's just going to roll right on in to get up. Just
imagine so.
Amped up on caffeine. So. The brass balls. This is not a statistically based honor for this particular gentleman because I'll be honest, his clutch numbers for the month were But
here we are. We're immediately off the rails with the criteria.
Damn it. What happened to the mute button, Jackson? I asked for one thing. I just like
that it was immediately started off with there's no statistical reason for the
combination of clutch and swag. And let me tell you, when Kevin Durant drills a game-winning pull-up three with 0.3 of a second left against the Phoenix Suns, marches to half court, and he's giving them the thumb, showing them exactly where their bus is. Get on out. Go on home, Phoenix Suns. Then struts into the press conference afterwards and says, I don't want to be dramatic, but that's my first time being kicked out of a place. I felt like I've been scapegoated for all the issues we had as a team last year. Hell yeah, it felt good to beat them and hit a game-winning shot over them. That's going to get you the brass balls, baby. You're going to at least get some kind of honor for that level of swag after you drill a game winner. Bontemps. All right. Any beef? Any beef? Thank you.
I have no beef ever. I'm always enjoying it. It's a great listen.
No beef ever.
Yeah, Bontemps is the definition of no beef. All right. The silver medalist here. A gentleman who got another honor today, a first-time All-Star, Jamal Murray. Now, listen to these numbers. 23 clutch minutes. Dude had 34 points on 9 of 14 shootings. Nut-cutting time. 1 possession game, last 3 minutes. 15 points, 100% shooting, 5 assists in 10 minutes. I wanted to give him the gold, but fellas, one blemish. Did you see the end of that Pistons game last week? here in Ball Arena. It's very strange. He got fouled shooting a potential game-tying three twice in the last 3.5 seconds. And
he made 4 clutch free throws in the last 10 seconds. Unfortunately, he had 6.
No, he made 3 because he missed the last one intentionally.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you're right.
But yeah, so that knocked him down. Plus, I will just say, Tyrese Maxey, man. Dudes. Tyrese Maxey. Jamal Murray was second in the league with 34 clutch points. Tyrese Maxey had 47.
Well, here's the thing. All the Sixers do is play clutch
yes,
games.
There was
every single game against every single game against every single team. Doesn't matter if they're good or bad. It's a 5-point game with 5 minutes to go, one way or the other at the Sixers.
By the way, Sixers coach Nick Nurse, his college 3-point shooting looked up by Jackson.
Oh.
47%.
Well, how about them apples? All right. That was when the line was a little bit closer, though, but still impressive. But Tyrese Maxey, 47 points on 26 shots in the clutch, nut cutting time, more than twice as many points as anybody else. 32 points on 17 field goal attempts. He actually had 2 go-ahead shots in the last 10 seconds of games. Unfortunately for the Sixers, they still blew the one to the Cavaliers and gave up a bucket to the Cavs to lose that one. It was against the Kings, so it doesn't count as much as it usually does, but did have that game-winning and one layup with 1.3 seconds left to cap a comeback against the rooting for the number 1 pick Sacramento Kings. So the gold medalist for Cojones Factor Player of the Month. Very deserving, Tyrese Maxey. Plus, he's a DFW native, so he gets some bonus points.
They put him in space, and he's like a running back in the open field. They give him a head of steam and put him in space, and I don't know how you stay in front of him.
He also might be the fastest guy in the league. So
I mean, with the ball,
it's crazy.
I think Derrick Rose was the fastest guy when he was pre-injury. Derrick Rose was the fastest guy I ever saw with the ball. But Tyrese Maxey,
he's really fast.
I think he's faster than Rose was, with all due respect.
John Morant's up there. We just don't see him very often. By the way, waiting for that trade market to heat up there. Think we'll be waiting a while. De'Aaron Fox is up there, but I'm not going to argue with Tyrese Maxey.
I agree. Fox is very fast. That's true. A beautiful list.
Thank you.
Beautiful list.
I appreciate Tyrese Maxey, by the way, one of the captains of the all DFW team, which I'm telling you, Dallas-Fort Worth will take on any other metropolitan area and whoop their butts.
By the way, I noticed, because all these Giannis trades, all these alleged, guys who are going to get traded there who are from Milwaukee. Brandon Pajemski, Con Knippel, and Tyler Hero, all Milwaukee guys, all coming.
Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson.
All right, Milwaukee's got a squad, but
Tyrese Halliburton.
They got a squad. They got a. I
mean, what do you mean
the area? The area.
Well, he's not really from Milwaukee, but he's
from Wisconsin, boss.
I'm just telling you, when he was a kid, they used to discriminate against him because he wasn't from Milwaukee.
I understand, but if you're giving it Milwaukee, you're giving the guy from Oshkosh.
And I will say Oshkosh, doesn't sound very tough. Oshkosh doesn't sound very tough.
Don't tell that to John Halliburton. He will.
Is Oshkosh an overalls brand?
There's clothing from there. Yes,
there's a lot going on out there in central Wisconsin. You and your Appletons, and your Green Bays.
I believe Appleton is the home of new New York Liberty coach Chris DeMarco, I believe, who I saw at the game today. He was there checking it out.
Is he a Packer fan?
No, he's a Bills fan.
By the way, speaking of Milwaukee, Cooper Flagg had 49 the other night, breaking a Mavs franchise rookie record that he shared with Mark Aguirre, who had a 40-plus minute halftime ceremony to retire his jersey that night. Anyways, do you know the last rookie to score more than 49 points in a game? I gave you a hint. I said, speaking of Milwaukee.
I know the answer.
Whiz of the quiz. Give me some whiz of the quiz here. Wendy, come on. You got to at least guess.
I don't know. Go ahead.
The answer is the double nickel by one Brandon
Oh,
Jennings.
wow.
Yes.
I remember that. Oh, my God.
But Cooper Flagg probably will go 6th in this next year's draft. I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of those guys will score 49 points in a game as a rookie because it happens about once a decade.
Well,
You've laid down the gauntlet. Of course, you have to play both halves to score 50 points in a game.
Yeah, there's that.
All right. Beautiful work. Thank you to Mark Jackson and Devon for staying up very late. Their work is still going on.
Devon's on the West Coast.
I'm on the West Coast, but nonetheless. All right.
Do you have anything to do in the morning? We haven't heard.
We got trade deadline week coming up. Good golly. We'll be talking to you often. Hopefully there's not too many emergency pods this week. I can't take it. I'm still recovering from the one the other day. All right. We'll talk to you later this week.
Good golly. Adios, amigos.